the tights. Or, excuse me, underwear.
Or Batman fucking Robin.
I mean...
Why do you always go there with that bullshit? No one's goddamn well that's not real.
I'm just saying, back in like the old days in the original episodes, I think they could have gave him some pants.
Why, though? I mean, the idea for superheroes was the image.
Right, the underwear over the pants, not the underwear and then just his nutsack hanging out each side.
He had them over his shit.
What? Robin? Like Adam West Robin?
All of them did!
No.
Welcome back, everybody.
All
to another
right.
episode of All in a Day's Work. This is episode number 2 for the day. We are live here. It is Wednesday, as we do every Wednesday.
That's right.
We still have our special guest with us, Ryan. If you guys watched the last video, you got to meet who Ryan is.
Hi!
That's this guy right
It's
here.
Franny.
But for those of you, if this is your first time, my name is Trip. That's Lucas.
Yo.
This is our buddy Ryan. He's our Facebook moderator, and he's also our new YouTube sensation. Pretty much, he's our YouTube handler. So he's going to be taking over our YouTube.
I
But
control
we're
them.
going to get into our headlines like we do every week. And, you know, why not kick it off with our new guest to greet off on our first headline for today.
I gotta read stuff.
But before we get into this, we do want to put a PSA out there for you guys. The topics we're bringing up today are serious topics. I know we can be known as goofballs. I know sometimes we talk about some stuff that's not necessarily important to most as far as headlines are concerned, because what do we always say? We're talking about things that we shouldn't be talking about, but however we are.
So
this one, we're talking about some serious headlines.
Yeah, so I was going over trying to get some headlines earlier today, and I know we went over some headlines yesterday, but so I wanted to get some new ones, and these kind of stuck out to me because, you know, one, they're horrific, they're horrible, and these I feel like these are some of the conversations that we need to be having, because majority of these headlines that I found, they deal with high school students, kids, right? And
So,
I'm a firm believer that if we don't take charge of instructing our kids to be better than the society around them, then they just end up repeating the same bad behavior over and over again.
yeah. So before I even ask that, what the headlines are for today, I'm assuming with these ones you did a little bit more research than the typical just reading the headlines.
Yeah. So when it deals with bullcrap headlines, you know, I don't feel like I need to dig too much. I feel like the headline itself says everything that we need to know about
We're
it.
just going to express
You know,
a pretty funny opinion.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Whereas these are some pretty horrific things. So there's 3 headlines for today. 2 of them are pretty horrific, and we're gonna end on a good note with the third headline.
Okay, so that's always good. Ending on a good note.
Yeah. So without further ado, Randy, go ahead and start us off.
Franny?
Yeah, Franny. My
His name
bad.
is Franny.
I'm Randy today, guys.
I mean,
For those of you guys who don't know, Lucas is a lightweight because he doesn't typically drink.
No, I don't.
But I
Only on
I
Wednesdays.
force him to drink a shot with me every Wednesday before we go live, so he can loosen
Tradition,
up a
man,
little bit. It's
tradition.
just tradition.
Peer pressure.
I just drink water.
That's water.
That's all water on the rocks.
totally. Anyway, Franny, go ahead and get started.
All right, so this article is about, or what it says is a black student forced to sit in locker with banana peels.
A black student was forced to sit in a locker
Yeah.
with banana peels.
So in the picture here, it literally shows like banana peels, and this guy shoved into a locker, and he's got chilling there.
So I saw this headline and I was like, what the crap? Is this some sort of haze going on? You know, because I know when you're looking at the picture, you read the headline, you immediately think racist, right?
That
right.
was my very first thought. Was
Yeah.
Exactly.
I jumped straight to race on this one.
And you know, so did I. So I was like, wait a minute, this cannot be the case. This has got to be some sort of haze. Like he's the new football player. You know, like when you're in a tight knit group, you always have some sort of ritual to welcome in the new guys, right?
Yeah, hazing.
Yeah. For lack of
Lack of a better word.
for simple,
I mean, that's
for
what it
one
is.
singular word, yes. But so I read this article, right, and what it said was these kids of similar and different races, right? They told this kid, "Hey, sit in this locker, otherwise I'm gonna break your legs." Right? It's completely horrific.
Whoa! So they threatened this dude.
Yeah.
And literally forced him to do it.
Let's back up. Was this kid a new kid?
The article that I read didn't say,
Okay,
right?
so
It didn't
then-
say like how old he was. It was a high school, I believe, but it didn't say how specific old he was. It didn't say if he was a freshman joining the varsity
Yeah.
football team, anything like
so it
that.
just said the kids told him, or the other teams or whatever told
Yeah.
him, sit in this fucking locker. I'm gonna break your knees or break your legs.
Yeah, break your legs, right? And
And
like
they
I
put
said,
banana peels in there.
I don't know why the article didn't say why they did that with the banana peels, why they threatened the kid like that.
I can tell you why.
I mean, from like I said, right from the jump, it immediately goes to racist, right? And this is just my opinion, right? I believe that this specific incident has nothing to do with race for a couple of reasons.
Nothing or not as much.
I don't believe the core issue with this story is race, right? I don't think they made this dude sit in this locker specifically because of the race, for a couple of reasons.
But what about the banana peels?
There is some racist undertones, absolutely, right? But again, I don't think this whole issue is racist in general, for a couple reasons. One of which happens to be that there was similar races that did this to this kid.
Similar but not the same.
The article said similar, so I'm assuming they meant the same, right? That's my
I would-
assumption.
My assumption was similar would be close to, but not the same. Because if not, they would say like races. It says similar and different races. So I would assume other colored people and then non-colored people. Not necessarily them saying black people because it was a black kid. It says similar.
It said similar races, right?
So
It does say
I
similar
wouldn't
races.
assume that being the same.
Yes. Well, when I read this and it said different and similar races, because they differentiated it different, and they already said different, I'm assuming when they said similar, they meant same,
Okay.
right? Otherwise, they would have just said different races.
Right.
It's wording and words.
I-
This is why words matter, right?
Absolutely,
This is exactly
absolutely.
why words matter,
But
because an article like this can literally start a fire that
absolutely.
doesn't need to be started.
Absolutely, and like I said, I don't believe this has anything to do with race, simply because the similar races.
Let me.
well-
Can I say something before you explain your part?
Yeah.
I want to tell you right now, it does have to do with race because the article headline starts off with a black kid stuffed in a locker with banana peels.
Why?
So, like, if it just said a teenage kid was stuffed in a locker with bananas, maybe it wouldn't be necessarily as it wouldn't be looked at first as because it's eye candy.
Oh, yeah.
It's clickbait, right?
So, yeah,
It's
absolutely.
clickbait. So because they throw in a black teen stuffed in a locker or forced in a locker, or whatever, with bananas.
Okay,
With banana
and
peels. So
this is where
the clickbait there. It's fueled to make it seem
Hmm. Yeah.
like it's a racist story.
and I believe that's on the media's part. I don't believe.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
I don't believe the issue with the kids has anything to do with race. The article inflames that. I don't think the issue with the kids has anything to do with race.
Do you know where the article came from?
Daily Dot.
Daily Dot.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I'm not a. Jeremy says it could be race baiting. That's what it sounds.
That's
like.
what the article sounds like.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Look, with the headline itself, without even digging
Yeah.
into it, my mind is already spinning as far as race is
Yes,
concerned.
and
Yeah, if you have any opinion, you're welcome to jump.
No,
in.
that's
Anytime.
100%. That's what I think, that it's definitely targeted to make you jump at it, thinking
Yeah.
that like, oh shoot, this is some kind of race crime,
Absolutely.
you know?
And like I said, I think this is exactly what the media wants, and I think this is why we should avoid jumping to conclusions because these are high school kids, right? And I'm of the firm opinion, and I know this is completely wrong, but I would like to believe that everybody below the 18 is completely innocent.
Yeah.
Right? And I know that I know that's completely false, but that's what I would like to believe.
I would like to believe that
Yeah,
too.
and
we
but-
know reality.
because I truly believe that racist is almost the purest of evils, right? Because this is completely horrific, right? Just to hate somebody simply because of their skin color, those qualities that they cannot control. And I the way I see this, because unless these kids have signs, have prior incidents of racist behavior, I don't think we need to jump right into the conclusion that these kids are in fact racist. And I don't think anybody should
This
be
could
that.
just be their first racist act.
Well, it could be. It could be, and this could be the thing that pushes them down that behavior. But I don't think we need to start off at that level, right? This may just be some kids hazing another kid or just being assholes, right? Because, while I like to believe that kids are inherently good, there are assholes out there.
There really
is
are.
why I fucking hate the media so much.
Absolutely.
And I know that's pretty, what is it, hypocritical to say, considering we are on a podcast on social media, using media to our advantage to get this story out and things like that. However, the difference is I'm not trying to influence others to believe a certain thing. We're literally just giving the story itself out there and expressing our opinions on it, as opposed to trying to influence somebody based on a headline.
Absolutely.
Like that. Because there are a lot of people who just read headlines.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I do with the bullcrap articles, right?
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
anyways, you were going to explain some more
So,
on why you told us why you fundamentally believe or want to believe it's not supposed to be as racist.
yeah, because like I said, I truly believe that racism,
Bring your mic up a little.
that racism is taught. I don't believe kids are born to hate one another based on that quality, that shallow of a quality.
Yeah.
I just think that this is, unless there is other proof stating that these kids have a pattern of this type of behavior towards certain groups, then I don't think this is a racist act. I think this is just kids being assholes, doing dumb stuff that they probably shouldn't be doing.
So what after reading some more of the article, what did you find out?
So the article wasn't very long, right? It just said that this has happened. Authorities been called. They're looking into the incident.
So it's under investigation.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
no
It is.
real details
No.
or information.
No.
So even without the headline, you're kind of left there to just ponder and wonder.
Makes your mind wander
And-
about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
it's that to me is not fair.
I completely agree with you.
From a media standpoint, that is not fair because now you have this idea, which may have been a local article or a small article. Hell, we're not that big of an organization or a podcast, but we are out there. So last week we got 17,000 views on one video, right? That's 17,000 people that could possibly potentially hear this article today.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely.
So I just want to keep that in mind. So now, with just that information there and no follow-up to it, that's wrong.
Yeah,
that's not right. The media there has to be, I hate to say this, as far as regulation is concerned, because we do have a First Amendment right, freedom of speech, and should be, but I feel like if you are you're a news source, if you're going to be putting out an article like this, you have a duty. You have a duty to put out the facts.
Yeah.
Not just clickbait headlines to get people interested in the story. But and especially something like this with everything that's going on in today, where I feel like the media is fueling racism to become more of an issue today than it was 5 years ago.
Absolutely,
Before
absolutely.
it was 10 years ago.
I believe.
Because, not to say that we don't have racism issues in our country. We do. We know that to be true. But I feel like the media is making it worse than what it is.
Yeah.
Not only bringing some things to light, but this is a prime example. You're giving me a clickbaited article to get my head spinning, and initially my thought is it's racist. And I have reasons behind why I feel like that. But then you go into the actual article, other than the headline, and there's no real information other than it's under investigation by police.
And
that's not right.
I completely agree with you. I saw that article this morning, and I showed it to you, and it was just crap. Like, there's not much information in the article, and I'm with you. I'm of the firm opinion that the media should have an obligation to just report the facts of the case, not an opinion, not what they feel, just the facts, right?
I think that's what's going on right now. I'm sure some of you guys have seen the hashtag
Expose
expose CNN.
CNN. Yep.
I'm not too sure exactly what that meant, but it sounded like fuck yeah, expose CNN, especially CNN.
Expose all the media.
Oh, yeah.
To me, CNN is probably by far one of the worst.
Absolutely.
Which is just opinion-based fucking news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right.
and I completely agree with you. I think there isn't a news source out there that isn't biased in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
And you're right.
Right.
You're right.
Because we are people, right? People are prone to mistakes. People are prone to biases based on their experience, their knowledge, how they see the world, their lens, for which they view things. You're always going to have a bias. So, I mean, that's just going to happen. But to have it into that extreme where you're solely focused on, putting news in such a lens that it fits your narrative is completely
the
wrong.
narrative. You hit that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they thrive on. They want to cause you to, start thinking negative thoughts because the media primarily focuses on trying to make you think that the world is going to shit and everything is terrible because that's how they get their
At
ratings.
this point, the world really is.
I mean, 100%, yeah, but
If you think about it like this, man, the media has literally caused the main issues that we're having between running for re-election. Let's go back 2019, pre-pandemic, into the pandemic, into the riots, into re-election.
Yeah.
The media has had a hand in fueling this fucking chaos.
Absolutely.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Have been enduring the past, year and a half,
Absolutely.
2 years.
And I think that they did that for more than one reason to get Trump out of office. I think they did that because when you're so emotional, when you're caught up in fear and anger, whatever, you're easily swayed. Whereas when you're calm, you're able to collect your thoughts, think rationally through things, right? So,
well, they're under pressure. They want to get the story out right away.
Yeah, no.
They want to be the first ones to get some kind of story out there.
It's not even that. I truly believe that the media is so corrupt. They're in the politicians' pockets, right? They're feeding them this narrative, or the politicians are feeding the media sources this narrative of whatever they want it to be.
Yeah,
and then
I can persuade voters to think this way.
And they push this
them.
story to fit their narrative to try and get people emotional to vote to go a certain way.
Man, I'll be honest with you, man. Because politics are so corrupt and the media is so corrupt, I don't ever see us bouncing back and recovering from that. Unless we have a massive restructure in our political system and our media.
I truly agree.
Yeah.
At the very least, media.
Like I always say, at the very least, our fucking politics. Because, like I always say, there's no reason we have fucking 80-year-old fucking senators and congressmen sitting in there making all the decisions for us.
I agree with that.
The
but
world is not the same as it was 40 years ago.
The way I see it, I honestly believe the media has more influence over everyday people than politicians do.
Well, they say that the media is what really influences the election.
Absolutely, because how often outside of listening to news do you really know anything about politics? Exactly. So the media can frame things. Even snippets of politicians
the only way
saying
that
what
you
they
can see it is by watching C-SPAN.
or going
C-SPAN,
yeah,
right?
or like actually actually going to the meetings, right? If they're even if they're open, right?
Yeah,
so
if you're allowed to.
so the media can frame things, and they've done this in the past where they take snippets of conversations of speeches that politicians give, and they frame it in such a certain way that it's not even representing what the speech was about.
That's my point right there.
So I feel like
I think that's what you're also getting at with this particular article, which is they hit you with this headline and a bullshit synopsis of what's going on with no real detail, right? No real information. So they're persuading you to think a certain way to get people like us talking. Right, who might influence other people to talk. Yeah, and before you know it, it becomes a thing.
And that's why I'm an avid.
Sorry, I know you probably got some stuff to say.
Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead. I agree with you guys.
So this is why I'm a firm believer of no matter what happens, just take a step back. Right? Don't it's okay to get emotional about certain things, especially if it's near and dear to your heart. Right? But just take a step back, think about things, and then. Before you get all up in a fit about certain things, just take a step back and think about it for a second, right?
I think
Actually make a rational thought process before you announce it to the entire freaking world.
Yep.
they're not in the business of
No, 100%
taking
no.
rational thought. They're in
No.
the business of making money.
Well, I'm not talking about the media. I'm talking about us as listeners. Like, just
Yeah,
take a step
but
back
see-
and think about things first.
Yeah, you're right. But if you're already
Speaking to a
ingrained
small number,
and
though.
dealt with a certain
Yeah.
news source, you're gonna believe whatever. the fuck they
Absolutely,
say.
and this is why I'm a firm believer that if our media is right, then we can hold the politicians accountable, and then we can actually turn this ship around to right it the way it's supposed to be. But I don't know. But
with that one particular
Yeah.
article, just to close on that article, excuse me, I felt, and with the very limited amount of information I've been given,
Very limited.
very, and I'll be the first to admit it, I initially thought that it was racist because and it is exactly worded the way it's worded.
yeah, absolutely.
Black kids stuffed in a locker
With
they're
banana
gonna-
pills,
with
like-
banana pills, and they're gonna break his legs if he comes out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that, that's hazing to a whole different level
I mean,
of that's that to me that is hate
you
because
see,
you're
but-
forcing someone to do stuff in a locker. Okay, whatever, right? What I have an issue with, other than the violent part, is the banana peels.
yeah, but
There's no reason. You can't justify or any reason that you would throw banana peels in this person or hang them up with this guy. To me, this is my opinion. Other than for it to be some kind of racist act, because we have been put down and told we're monkeys for the longest time, right?
Yeah.
And our favorite two fruits is watermelon and bananas.
yeah, and
So for me to see that, and that's what they're highlighting. To me, it seems like it's fueled to be a racist story or a racist act.
And I truly understand that, right? But like I said, let's just separate the elements, right? Forcing somebody to sit in a locker, not that extreme. Telling somebody that you're gonna break their legs. How many times have you told somebody something like that, especially as a kid, as a teenager?
Shit, I say it more as an adult now.
Yeah, you do.
You already know.
So
If I lend you my money, if
Yeah.
I lend you money and I don't get it back.
Yeah, so for like just in context, like not that extreme, right?
Yeah.
Right, unless you actually start to act on that, right?
Right.
There you go.
Right,
Yeah.
and then you got the banana peel. That has absolute some racist undertones to it. But does that mean this whole incident is based on race? I mean, it might be.
I'm not
It
saying
might
it
be.
is or it isn't. I mean,
But
it's under investigation.
I-
Yeah, I don't have any
I-
information
I
to support.
I just think that before we jump to that extreme, because in my opinion, it's such a heinous thing. It's so evil. It's
Yeah.
completely evil in nature. We need to step back and
Well,
examine the
did,
facts.
Did this say where this happened?
It mentioned it. I don't remember.
Okay, so for me, with the limited information, it's too easy for us to jump to a conclusion without the facts.
Absolutely.
It's too easy for us to jump to a conclusion with, only given a headline and a synopsis. Most of what was given to us is fueled to
Absolutely.
anger a
Absolutely.
specific criteria people.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. I
In the
completely.
most, the best way I can put that.
Yeah, no, that does make sense.
I completely agree with you.
And it's sad to me to know that our media today will focus on shit like that, and we again and it pisses me off. It pisses me off to my fucking core because we have veterans living on the streets. They're not talking about that.
No, absolutely.
Who other than us right now is talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
We have veterans that have been incarcerated wrongly.
Mm-hmm.
Who's talking about that? We have children, not to mention the crisis at the border. We have our own children here that are starving and cannot even afford new school clothes or socks and stuff like that. But we're not talking about that.
Absolutely.
But the media is going to highlight this incident, not to say that this isn't an issue. But the media is going to talk about this. They're going to talk about the border crisis and that we're going
The challenge. The border challenge.
Excuse me, the border challenge. And how
Specific
we're going
words.
to pull out of Afghanistan
Mm-hmm.
on a very specific date.
Yep.
Again, don't get me. That's gonna get me.
Yeah,
involved.
and we're going to talk about that. But
But we have time and energy to focus on that shit
No, absolutely. Yeah.
But we're not worried about the problems that our politicians,
Mm-hmm.
who you all voted for,
Mm-hmm.
your local politicians who aren't doing a fucking thing about the problems we have right here in our own backyard.
Yep. Yep.
In our own backyard, we're not doing a fucking thing about it.
No, I completely agree with you, and it's absolute shame. I mean, we got all these problems in house that we need to be dealing with, but we're focusing on sending
Let me
money.
ask you, at what point are we going to get off our ass, take the shit off the back burner, and focus on it?
No, like I said, I completely agree with you, and these are definite issues that our politicians need to be focusing on. Right? We need to be focusing on police reform. We need to be focusing on the homeless problem. I believe it was California. They're not now going to be paying people to try and get into hotels. Right? I believe I saw an article that they're paying these migrants coming from across the border like $380 to stay in a hotel daily. Right?
Just to keep them off the streets.
Well, these are illegals coming across the border until they can process them. Like this is at least from what I
And house
understand.
them and pay them.
They're gonna
Yeah.
pay
Yeah,
them
yeah, and then not only
and put them in a hotel.
and then not only that, they're talking about sending money down to Mexico to start to keep migrants down there. Like
Wait. So they're gonna
send money over to Mexico to keep illegals to stay in Mexico and to keep them from coming across the southern border. So like,
where's all this money coming from?
Oh, don't you know Brian's just printing that stuff off, man? That's why taxes are jumping.
I don't understand how.
But
Sorry, I'm.
No,
this
no,
shit,
Defense budget cut.
It fucking pisses
Absolutely.
me off, man. I can't drive to work without running over potholes in a fucking major interstate because there's no money to fix the fucking road. But we all of a sudden have money to send to do that.
yeah, no, it makes no sense. Like I'm a firm believer that you got to fix your house before you start helping other people out.
Right.
Right. So we got a lot of problems. Like there's no two ways about it. We got a lot of problems in this country that needs to be fixed.
What about these other countries that are literally focusing on their problems first?
Oh, they're gonna figure it out before we
and-
sure as hell do.
Yeah, and well, with our money too.
Yeah,
That's
with
the thing.
our
And
money.
that's
So, like-
what I don't understand. Why are we funding for them to fix their own problems?
I agree with you. Like,
Not to say other countries don't need help.
Absolutely.
Please don't think of me as this guy who doesn't give a fuck about other countries. I truly do, and I understand foreign aid is necessary and is needed.
Yep.
But there has to be a cap, and we have to realize at some point we have a duty to our citizens to help them out.
yeah, our politicians are elected to work for us. We don't work for them. We're not just a piggy bank for them to keep drawing money out of.
Exactly what it seems
Right.
like, 'cause
So they work
Keep
for
it
us.
coming.
taxes go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Where's that going?
I'm truly of the opinion that some of these politicians think that just because they're in office they can do whatever they want to, and that's not the truth. And that's not the case.
Because they're able to influence things like the media.
Yeah, that's
And
why.
donors.
Yeah.
And we've already spoke about that, but anyway, like I truly believe like we got to start fixing our stuff. All right, because if it keeps getting worse, we're going to be worse off than some of these countries that we're sending money to.
Yeah, it's true.
I honestly,
It's not far
and
off
I,
either.
and I
Yeah.
hate to say this, man. If we continue down the path that we're going right now, how long before we're a third world country?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Like it's not that far off. Like I mean, just look what happened in the last 20 years from 2000 to now. You know, race relations is down. Is worse off than it's been in the last decade or two. You know, our national debt almost tripled just from when Biden was vice president.
I think our national debt is almost an incalculable amount.
Yeah,
to
it's
be honest.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous, right?
To be honest,
And
it's
it's because of failed policies, man. I mean, if you look back over the statistics, look at all these failed policies and look at who enforced these things, and then we're electing the same people doing the same policies over and over again, and we're wondering why things aren't getting better.
Yep.
Let me give you guys out there in TV land and Facebook world. If you don't know what the definition of insanity is, it is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Yeah, but my biggest fear, right, because of what happened during the 2020 election, right, and the questions that arose from that, right.
It's a lot of questions that arose from that.
Absolutely, and so what's going to happen with future elections? Like,
The question is,
Some of the
can
same
you
shit.
trust future elections?
I mean, with the way that this election happened and how it was so not transparent, right, and how things were just swept up under the rug, in my personal opinion, I truly believe that we've lost our
Integrity?
we've lost our trust in elections in general. And what happened this past year with the election is going to turn off a lot of people from even voting because they're like, what's the point?
I would be afraid that 2024 would have a less voter turnout than 2020 did.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying, because of how this one turned out, I truly believe it's going to be a turnoff for a lot of people to even come out and vote.
And let's be honest, we still have 3.5.
Yeah, we're not even halfway through the first year.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of this administration,
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
and we have nothing but uncertainty ahead of us. We know one thing for sure, apparently, that we're pulling out of Afghanistan on
Yeah.
a very specific date.
Yep.
Which,
I don't know, man. You know, Biden ran a lot on unity, trying to unite the nation, which is all well and good, but I don't see much unity going on right now. Honestly,
I really don't, man.
You know,
it's
when you got a president that surrounds himself with barbed wire and National Guard troops, it doesn't really seem like unified to me.
No, not really.
It sounds like
seems
it sounds like he's
trying to keep somebody out.
It sounds like a dictatorship. Like
Is
he's
it-
high up on his castle, trying to stay away from
On-
everybody.
On one aspect, I
Just
can
my opinion.
understand where the fear is in
Mm-hmm.
place because of what happened on January 6th.
Yeah, it's crazy how that was labeled a terrorist attack, but everything that's happened since with the riots and with the protests in Minneapolis right now, those are back to protests. But what happened on January 6th, that was an insurrection. I mean, I don't know. That's just crazy
You know,
how that
but
worked out.
who
Yeah.
also said that shit? The media.
Yep, it's crazy how that
Who's
worked out.
influencing
Huh.
that? Who's influencing that?
Yep.
The media.
I don't know.
It's funny how you're exactly right. One administration is allowed to do
Mhm.
something that the other administration couldn't do without being labeled a certain way or thing.
It's just
or-
like how when
Yeah, it's
Trump
true,
was in
though.
office, it was a crisis at the border, and now that it's 5 times worse, it's a challenge. Like, it makes no sense.
what's worse, a crisis or a challenge?
Depends on how you look at it.
I don't know.
It-
But
we're getting to a point where, like I said, and I know people might disagree with me where they don't think words matter, but we're
Absolutely.
at a point where words matter.
absolutely.
These are specifics that are out there that are influencing
Mhm.
people's state of mind.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's crazy. I truly believe the media is so worried about influencing people that they're skewing the facts.
So
Oh, that's how you get the numbers there.
Yeah, exactly.
they have a duty to influence people instead of giving the facts.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
when you focus on one thing, you take away from the other. When they're trying to focus on influencing people, they skew the facts, and vice versa. When you focus on giving the facts, you don't really care about who thinks what
Or who they're hurting
So
or
you
anything.
can't do both. And I truly believe that people are so, especially politicians, they're so worried about getting reelected, keeping that power for so long, keeping that money going, so they can make these backdoor deals and get kickbacks.
They like being in power.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But my big thing is about that whole statement. If they keep going down this road of these policies that are doing nothing but harming this country, how much longer are they going to be in power for before this country becomes what it's not supposed to be?
A militia.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Taking back what?
yeah,
Going back
yeah,
to the
but
fundamentals.
then that's just going to be labeled another insurrection, and maybe even terrorist, because I believe it was back in into January that all these military leaders were looking at domestic terrorism because of what happened on January 6th, right? So any attempt to try and
overthrow.
no, I was gonna say right this country,
Or even speak
right?
up, you know.
Or
Right,
even speak
okay,
up.
so-
You're gonna be labeled as a domestic
shit.
terrorist.
We might be domestic terrorists now.
And we're not saying that's what we want. We're just expressing what is being
Concerns.
what-
This is all
what-
this is
what's
just
happening
concerns.
right now. So any kind of speaking up and trying to organize or even change the way or the path for what is currently going on it's too easy for the government to just label you as a domestic terrorist.
Yeah, to shut you
now you're
up.
fucked.
Yeah, and
Now
then
you're fucked.
and then there are so many people that hold on to that they won't even, like I said, take that step back and rationally think about things like, hey, is this really true, or are they? Do I need to believe this?
Do you want to know why they're not taking that step back?
Hmm.
Because they don't care.
Well, they do care.
No, the
Oh,
politicians.
politicians don't care.
They
No.
don't care.
They don't care who's
They're
like
they're gonna tell them to label them as
such and
domestic
such.
So, yeah,
terrorists
whatever
or
gets them
whatever.
ahead.
They don't care.
Absolutely.
They do not care.
And that's the biggest issue. They don't
That's
care.
why I'm running for governor in 2024. For those of y'all who don't know, because
That's right.
I do.
That's
care.
right. And like I agree with you. Politicians don't care, and you can just see that in the response to the pandemic going on right now. How little do they care about small businesses? How little?
Oh, yeah, if you're talking about a small business, they didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. They how little do they care about people's livelihood to keep people locked down for a year and a half and only give three stimulus checks?
You want to know what's funny?
You know.
When you're talking about the lockdowns and statistics and scientific facts will show, studies have shown, by locking people down in their home and cooping them up is actually worse for you than just getting out in the fresh air and living your normal life.
Absolutely. Like
You're gonna end up making yourself more sick and more susceptible.
Yeah, because you're hiding your
getting
immune
this virus.
system from
You're-
everything.
you're hiding.
Yeah.
You let your system get out there and work all this
Yeah.
bullshit in. You're not gonna get
yeah,
sick.
because
Weird.
your body.
Weird how that
Kinda weird
works.
how that works. It's like science.
Yeah,
It's almost like science.
Your body is designed to take in all these bacteria and to fight it. That's how you build your immune system. Right. And when you lock yourself down in one environment, i.e., your home, hotel, whatever,
And you get adjusted to that.
isolate yourself away from all the outdoors where all the bacteria is at, right?
Yeah.
And then once you finally do go out there, guess what? You're that
You're
much more.
fucked.
You're
Yeah.
that much more
Oh, yeah.
susceptible.
I think that's what they wanted.
Maybe.
Of course it is.
Because I heard this, and I hate to say this, but it was kind of funny. Instead of it being a pandemic, people are calling it now a plandemic.
Yeah, I
You
heard that.
It's a
Yeah.
plandemic.
Yeah.
So, and that hit me. I was like, fuck.
I mean, it's very true. And
This
then
shit makes sense because, anybody who's ever known anything, like when you got sick and your brother had the chicken pox, what'd your parents do?
go touch him. Go hug him.
Go touch him, hug him, sleep with him
Yeah.
for the night,
Yep.
so you get that chicken
Yeah.
pox and get it over with. Right?
Yep.
Right? Ain't no different.
Yep. That
Right?
my
Get
parents.
this shit, get it over with, get back outside.
Get outside, go eat dirt, do something, scrape your knee, something, right?
But
Go-
if they get enough people, to stay inside, and then they start coming outside and getting sick, then they get what they want. And
Well,
they're
the
forcing
thing
you to go
is,
get that
because
vaccination.
A year ago, when this thing first kicked off, okay, we're talking about the pandemic and COVID, okay? A year ago, when this kicked off, the media and Dr. who I'm not going to mention his name,
Dr. Phil.
but the media was pushing out this idea that if you step outside without a mask, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
That's the way, and they were, and when you had, what do we have, 550 million people in America?
Yeah.
330.
I think there's more than that. I think
It's
something-
300.
Big number.
330 million.
Hundreds of millions of people.
There
in
we go.
America.
Okay.
Lots of them.
You're going to scare a lot
Absolutely.
of people.
Absolutely.
Mind you, even though this virus has a 98% chance of survival if you get it, the issue I see is instead of them pushing for trying to or advocating for better health, taking vitamins, getting out in the sun, working out, exercise, eating right, lose weight. Instead, they're not doing any of that. It's just lock yourself down, wear a mask, wear 2 masks. Fuck it, wear 3 masks.
Wear 10 masks.
And don't go to work.
Yep.
Shut everything down. Well, wait a minute now.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are a year fucking later, and it's the same.
Yeah, I mean,
Here in our state, they're talking about, or they've already rolled back a couple of the counties and rolled back a
back to
phase.
phase 2.
Yeah.
And this shit doesn't make no fucking sense.
No,
bro.
what doesn't-
I'm so sick of this shit.
What doesn't make sense is, Texas, they did away with their mask mandates. Their cases are down. But some of the
Look
states with the strictest mandates as far as public health, their cases are up.
Oh, of course.
Look at Florida, where they pretty much said fuck it
Yeah.
since day one, and they have a lower case of, and there's parties and all this stuff going on in Florida. I see it all the time, and their numbers are dwindling down.
Yep.
Imagine that.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Imagine that. So here's my thing. We know for a fact that staying healthy, having a better diet, exercising, sunlight, fresh air. We know for a fact that these things work.
Mm-hmm.
We know for a fact getting the vitamin D if you're in a lower sun area like we are, taking those vitamins and vitamin C, sauna, exercise, whatever it is. We know for a fact that these things work to keep your body safe and immune system going. We know this works.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, what they're pretty much pushing is stay your ass locked down.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go to work. We know you're broke. We know you can't afford to pay your bills. We know unemployment's not going to cut it. We know this. We know these things to be true.
Yeah.
We know this. However, we want you to pretty much stay back and comply with whatever we're talking about. And then when we have a vaccine, which we don't know for sure is going to work, because obviously what I'm seeing right now ain't working for shit.
I mean,
they're still pushing get a vaccine, get a vaccine. But I'm not seeing a change in anything.
I'm about 90% sure that they stopped the Johnson & Johnson vaccine from getting distributed because there were so many adverse side effects to it.
Moderna's is next.
Yep. So
there are people getting fucked up.
Yep.
We had a coworker. He had to leave from work and take his wife to the hospital. After she had to leave for her second COVID shot the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was that bad.
Yeah,
and this is stuff that's going to happen. Obviously, what do they say? The vaccine is 95%
something like that
accurate or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But there's going to be reactions, but it's not approved by the FDA for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because
this has been
rushed.
Yeah, there's no long-term studies with these vaccines at all.
No reason I'm not getting the vaccine.
Absolutely.
I have been perfectly fine. I just got my other COVID test the day before yesterday. I got tested. Got the
anal swab.
The nasal swab. I ain't getting my anal fucking swab for shit. Okay.
It's all hidden in that cavity up there.
I got my other COVID test, and I had to get one for reasons I shouldn't have. But
yeah.
I'm not gonna talk about that. But anyway, so I get my COVID test, right. And I'm there, and in one line is everybody getting tested for COVID, and the next line is my appointment. Everybody that's getting a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
And people are just getting the vaccine just because they're told to.
Yeah,
it's just, hey, go get the vaccine because they can. And I'm like, there's been, like, I get it. There's been a little bit of tests and stuff going on, but, like, the idea of this vaccine has been rushed.
Mm-hmm.
This entire thing is rushed in less than a year. At what point are you going to ingest something in your body that has very limited amounts of tests? And you're just like, all right, fuck it, I'm going to take it because everyone else is doing it? Get the fuck out of here.
Army.
You can't convince me. Other than the military, where you're forced to.
Yeah.
But that's a little... I view the military in a little different standpoint only because you do give up your rights. You volunteer for this and you know kind of what you're getting into ahead of time.
You said it right there. You volunteered for it, right? That's how I look at this, right? If I'm not volunteering for it, right, I ain't getting it, and you ain't going to make me. If you try and make me, we gonna fight.
Yeah, there's gonna be some fighting going on. I'm just saying, and this is what I know for a fact because this is my body. Mm-hmm. So Facebook, you're welcome to fact check this if you want to. I don't know how you're going to. This is my body and my reaction.
You hear that, Zuck?
Okay. So this entire year of COVID, I have been around many different people with and without mask, touched on. Dealing with crackheads. I got spit on by a fucking crackhead.
You've been touching on crackheads, bro.
Bitch, don't misconstrue my motherfucking words.
I'm just you said it.
Serious right now. Don't get stupid. Okay? And not one symptom of COVID have I had. Not one. Right? I've been tested a few times now, and every single time I'm COVID free.
Yep.
I am not worried about this. I don't get a flu shot. I haven't gotten sick in almost a year and a half since. Actually, I think I got sick in the beginning of the COVID thing, and it was for like 2 days.
Yeah.
That's usually typical for me, and that was right after I got my flu shot. I haven't got a flu shot since. I haven't gotten sick once.
I got sick about 2 years ago, and that was the last time I've been sick.
Yeah, I remember when you got sick.
Yeah, because I was at work, and you guys wanted me to go home, but I wasn't going to.
You look like shit.
Yeah. It was a Thursday.
But for me, I know what works for me. I take some vitamin C, some echinacea, some tea, and NyQuil, DayQuil, and I'm good. Mm-hmm. I'm good. 2-3 days, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm back to 100%.
Yeah.
Every single time I get sick, and I know it's natural stuff that works for me. I'm not worried about this pandemic COVID case that...
That's like your favorite word now, right?
I mean, I'm going to use it if it's out there. I'm just saying, it for my... And this is my experience now. I haven't had not one incident where I've been concerned about this.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And this is not to dismiss the 500,000 lives that have been lost here in America due to COVID. This is not to dismiss that. This is not to dismiss those who have family members and loved ones that they have been lost to COVID. I'm not dismissing that. I understand that. But if you look at the history for this COVID-19 pandemic, the people who are more susceptible and have had passed on and had really strong health-related issues have been overweight or had underlying health conditions that correlated with or without COVID. So they had either diabetes, cancer, and they caught the COVID, so their immune system was already corrupted.
I saw
whether they died from COVID or from the cancer, they're still saying it was a COVID-related death.
I saw a video. I think we're gonna say this, and I think we should wrap this up.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I heard this one story from this dude. He posted a video, right? And I don't remember where I saw it at, but he was talking about what his experience with COVID, right? He said he was walking outside. I don't remember what state it was in. This was a while back. But it was sunny out. He was nice. He's like, so I'm just posting this video. I just wanted to talk about my experience with COVID and what happened afterwards, right? So I was sick. I got tested. I had it. I felt fine, right? You know, wasn't extreme, anything like that, right? Then I get a call from the medical center that was trying to do a survey about this COVID. And he's like, hey, we just want you to say this, this, and this, that it was this bad, that you felt like this.
So they're influencing.
Yeah. They wanted him to say it was worse than what it was for him.
To back their statements on the pandemic.
Exactly, right? And I was just like, so this is what they're doing to try and influence people to take this more seriously than it should be. To try and get this vaccine that's coming out that has been no studies. To me, it seems a little weird, so a little sus.
Little sus. Little sus. The acting sus right now.
Right?
And that's the thing. It's like, look, if somebody calls me to ask about my experience with it, and then so after they ask what my experience was, and then they're telling me, well, we want you to say this. Yeah. My reaction is, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And,
right in the butt. First off, go fuck yourself.
And essentially, that's what he said, but in a nice way. He was like, yeah, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna lie. And then he posted the video in case that's what they said. They used him to
use his statement.
Exactly.
But I feel like if you're going to post a video like that, it's how long before it gets taken down?
Oh, immediately. Yeah.
Well, I saw this video.
If you say that they're telling me I need to say this in order to whatever their agenda, they're going to take that shit.
No, absolutely. And I think I saw this video like a day or two after he had posted it. So maybe it got taken down. I don't know.
It's cancel culture, right?
Right.
It's been shown lately that if you say anything that disagrees with their agenda, it's going to get canceled or taken down, and that to me is pretty fucking sad.
Absolutely, and I think we should end on a good note, right? So. I saw this article, right, and after seeing the other article, I was in a bad mood, so I wanted to try to see something to like restore my faith in humanity.
Puppies and kittens.
Yeah, essentially.
Restore your faith in humanity.
Yeah, to give me some hope that this country is not all doom and gloom like all the media seems to be pointing towards. And I saw this headline and it made me feel good, right? This is about a 6-year-old kid, right? And the headline goes, 6-year-old gets heroes welcome back to school after completing cancer treatment.
After completing cancer
6 years old, right?
Man.
And it names this little kid, and shout out to this little kid. We wish you and your family the best of luck. We know how cancer goes. It can come back. Congratulations.
Yeah.
This kid's name is Nathan Herber, right? And so he was diagnosed with stage 4 T-cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2018. He was taken out of school to undergo various aggressive treatments to save his life. The day he took his last dose of treatment on March 25th, 2021, his entire school cheered him on.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was amazing. This kid, 6 years old, beat cancer. So congratulations. We just say
Hats off to
a true warrior right there. And what made me feel so good about this was the fact that the entire school
had his back,
cheered him on to welcome him back, and it was just like that's what we need more of, right?
Yeah.
See, here's my thing with this. It's sad to me that story right there isn't as big of a story out there for the media talking about. That right there is good news.
Absolutely,
very good news.
That right
Yeah.
there is like what you said in the beginning, restoring faith in humanity, right?
Absolutely.
But who's talking? No one's talking about that, and
Mhm.
that pisses me off. But
Absolutely.
I'm so glad that his entire school went out there to support him.
Mhm.
I'm sure the family loved that, because cancer sucks.
Yep.
Anybody who's been affected by cancer, have lost somebody to cancer, or has gone through cancer treatment, my heart goes out to you.
Mhm.
I lost my mother 2 years ago to cancer, stage 4 lung cancer. She didn't have a chance.
Mhm.
And it was caught so late and spread to her liver, she didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing: she went through 1 round of chemo,
Mhm.
1 round, and I saw her the next day. She was perfectly fine, and the doctor, everything was looking great. The next day,
Yeah. That's the thing with chemo. I had a family member affected with cancer, but it completely wipes out the immune system. It's
The good and the bad of the
Yeah.
immune system.
Yeah,
That's the
and
thing.
it's completely horrible. So if you know somebody, had somebody go through that, so our prayers are with you guys. It's a horrible experience. We wish you guys the best, but shout out to this kid, for
That's
fighting
right.
through that. Absolutely.
that's gotta be really hard. At 6 years old,
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
Like I couldn't fathom. Like, I got a 5-year-old daughter, and a 10-year-old daughter. I just couldn't imagine my kids having to undergo that kind of stuff while getting pulled out of school. To go through something like that, where like you really, especially stage 4, like you don't know.
Yeah.
6 years old, and he's beat it.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not a miracle,
Absolutely. And
I don't know.
yeah.
That almost goes back to the knife fighting.
Yeah.
Baby miracle.
Yeah.
You know,
But
it's
absolutely. So
it's stories like this that we need to hear more of.
Absolutely, especially with how bad, like, the news always pushes the bad stuff, right? Because that's what gets the ratings.
Yeah, we
Right.
might
Yeah.
start our own news source just looking for good stuff.
Absolutely.
We're gonna call it positive news.
yeah,
I'll be the weather girl.
yeah, the Positive News Network, the PNN,
Yeah,
Right.
Positive News Network.
right? So,
Hey, if you guys are out there and would like us to start a news network,
Hey.
Positive News Network, we're gonna set up a GoFundMe. No, just-
no, but real talk, like, we need to look for the good things, right? To keep the faith strong, right? Because when you lose hope, when you lose faith, right? That's when bad stuff happens, right? That's when the bad really creeps in, and it really affects your mental.
As
So
soon as
you got to
lose
balance that
faith,
out.
As soon as you lose faith,
Yep.
I challenge anybody who's watching this or who sees this. If you feel like you're losing faith, and whatever that faith is that means to you, it doesn't have to necessarily be religion.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you start to lose the idea in humanity and yourself or whatnot, reach out.
Absolutely.
Reach out for help.
And it doesn't matter if it's to us, if it's to a personal friend, if you don't feel comfortable reaching out to strangers, we get that, right? But always reach out to somebody. There's somebody out there that will help you they'll see you through situations. Don't ever think that you're not alone, you know?
Absolutely. We have, I know you guys probably get tired of me saying this, but we have a list of resources on our website.
Absolutely.
Check out our website, allinvaders.com. We have click on the resource tab. We have a whole list of resources out there for veterans, for their families, for anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody, really.
Yeah, and
It's resources.
And I know we're geared towards veterans, right? Because we're both veterans, or all three of us are veterans, right? But it doesn't matter if you're civilian, veteran, child, elder, adult, doesn't matter. Everybody's still human. Everybody has breath in their body. Everybody deserves somebody to listen to them going through stuff. Everybody has struggles. Everybody has stress, right? You're not alone in that. Don't ever think that you're alone going through whatever it is that you're going through. There's somebody that's going through that too, and somebody that can help you.
Absolutely. We're always there. We love you guys.
Yep.
We care about you. We want the best for you, and I hope you want the best for others.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, be on the lookout, help one another, stay kind to one another, stay safe.
Stay positive.
We love you,
Oh,
America. Until next time.
Till next
Check us
time.
out next week, live again,
4 o'clock.
p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
That's
We'll
right,
be
that's
live
right.
Again. Check out our videos. Check us out on Spotify. Like, share, subscribe.
All that good stuff. All that good
To our
stuff.
brother Franny. This
Thank
is
you for
my
joining
man
us.
Franny. He's taking over for our YouTube handle.
It's gonna be pretty.
We'll definitely be posting the links
Hopefully.
on our page and stuff like
If
that.
it's not, you're
for
fired.
YouTube. Can I talk?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'm over here putting out
My
information.
bad.
Y'all fucking it up.
My bad.
Anyways, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, he'll be posting some links here in the future once he gets the YouTube reformatted, and we get the right videos on there, so you guys can check out the live videos on YouTube, Facebook, share it, like, subscribe, all that good shit. But again, like we said, we love you. Stay safe, be kind
Stay
to
strapped.
one another, stay
All day,
strapped,
every day.
Hey,